Getting to a quicker start at PBA. You have a double-digit lead before Creighton even scored the basket. So I hope you guys propel yourself to a quick start.
I thought the preparation that we had all week really led to really the full game, the 40 minutes. We worked on our starts a lot over the week, and I thought that carried over. And it wasn't only the first half start. We talked about the second half start, and we done a solid job with the second half, with the exception of the New Mexico game where they came out and threw a haymaker at us, and we finally recovered in the last 10 minutes. But we talked how important it was to get off to good starts out of the gate the first 5 minutes of both halves, and it was 15-2 in the first half. It was 9-3 in the second half, and we pushed that lead up to 20 pretty quickly in the second half, and then we just kind of survived and hung on from there. So that just shows you what happens when you can come out, get off to a good start. You build yourself a cushion as opposed to having to climb out of that hole, which is a dangerous game to play. It's going to be very important again tomorrow. I anticipate a crowd very similar to what we had against Creighton, which was a huge factor, I think, in our start, and for the energy that was in that building. I really do think that helped us all the way along.
9-0, top 25 for the first time in a long time. Just beat your rival by 21. How has this group handled success?
Yeah, they handled it well. And, listen, that stuff's all great. I'm not going to discount what our guys have done to this point, and it's well-deserved, I think, what we got. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. And, right now we're 0-0 in the Big Ten, and that's what we're looking at as a team, and we get a great opportunity tomorrow to face a team that's absolutely rolling right now. You look at what they did. They had a 25-point lead in the first half against Northwestern, and then they followed that up with a blowout win against Marquette. So this team's playing really well. The thing I've been really impressed with this Wisconsin team is their pace. They're second in the Big Ten right now in pace, and their guards are as dynamic as any in the country. And they combined for 40 points with Boyd and with Blackwell, yeah, the best guard in the league. Can't think of his name, but anyway, it's those guys are rolling right now, and their bigs can really shoot the basketball, and they just put you. Greg Gard runs really good actions, and their continuity stuff. They've got so many different wrinkles out of it. We really have to be on point with our communication, but it starts in transition. We did a really good job, I thought, of getting back and forcing Creighton into the half court, and then I thought our defensive coverages were on point. Wisconsin puts you in a lot of really difficult situations just based on their overall movement. And again, their guard's ability to get downhill. Rhodey was a great pickup, a great addition. His ability to get into the paint and make plays. He's a really, really good passer. And again, when teams have five guys on the floor that can shoot it puts a lot of stress and a lot of pressure on your defense. And we're going to have to continue on and build off what we did against Creighton, because I thought our defensive intensity was on point for 40 minutes.
What do you tell your guys in handling that pace and how to prepare for that?
Yeah, I mean, we want to generate second chance opportunities, but you can't do it and jeopardize what you're doing on the defensive end as far as transition. And when we get back and we load, we're pretty good. And the other thing about Wisconsin is their ability to go to the offensive glass. They're really good. They've got great size. They're physical, as they always are. And we have to finish off possessions. So if we can cut off transition and finish off possessions as far as second chance points, we're going to have a chance. If we don't, Wisconsin can embarrass you and make it look really ugly. So, for us, it's a mindset. We got to get back. We got to load our defense, and then we got to have a very physical game as far as on the glass.
What is the balance to strike between crashing the glass and getting back?
Yeah. I mean, we've got our rules. We have what we call our crash zone, and then our corner guys that we sweep out of the corners and we go through the elbows. We don't want to take the wrong path. If you get on the wrong side of them, Blackwell and Boyd, their ability to get downhill and finish coast to coast, and I'd throw Rhodey in there as well, who's played a lot of point guard over the course of his career at St. Thomas in Virginia. So, it's a team that, again, with their ability to shoot it and the speed and the pace that they're playing with, they put a lot of stress on you. And if you give them transition baskets, it's not a good recipe for a win.
Will be defending the three-point line in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. They smoked us with the three-point line last year. They made 17 threes on us and got out to a 19-2 lead. And, we got back into it. I think it was 24-21, but we just could not shut them off from the outside. And that's what they do. They do a great job getting in the paint. They take unbelievably good care of the basketball. They don't turn it over. They don't give you free looks the other way. So we need to avoid taking the ball out of the net. We're not nearly as efficient as when we get the ball off the glass.
As a coach, you're probably not thinking in this mindset, but how much cushion do you feel like you guys created about what you need to accomplish in the Big Ten season just with what you guys were able to do in non-conference?
Well, I don't think we're looking at it that way, Justin. For us, we have to come out every game. I've talked about this. We did not do a good enough job on our home court last year in league. We actually won more road games a year ago than we did the previous year, but we didn't do a good enough job protecting home court. With the advantage that we have, with the energy that we have in our building, we should expect to win every time that we're on that floor. We got some really tough games this year against the top half of the Big Ten, starting with this game on tomorrow night. So, we need to establish that. We need to get our crowd into it early. We need to sustain it. This is the best team we've played, and there's no doubt about it. And we're going to have to be on point for 40 minutes.
How much can you take from their game against BYU versus the exhibition?
Oh, that was really what we look at are the more recent games. And, they played, I think, their two best games of the season against a really good Northwestern team where they just had complete control of that game, especially in that first half. The way they came out and established the pace and the tempo, and their defense is always going to be good. And, they ran away with it early in the game and like I said, got up 25 points. And then what they did against Marquette as well. So that's really what we're looking at. Obviously, we've watched all their games as they've watched all of ours. And you try to take things on what you can apply to your game plan that you think you can go out and execute without overwhelming your players. And, I think our guys, again, that they have been locked in. I give our guys a lot of credit for the way that they've handled success to this point. And, when we beat Purdue, what was it, a couple years ago, we were awful those next couple games because I think our guys went out and celebrated those wins a little bit too much. And with a quick turnaround, that was all they were talking about in the locker room after that game was let's get back in there, let's get back and have a great couple days of preparation. It's a short prep, which is not ideal for this Wisconsin team with all the things that they run, but it is what it is. So, our guys had a couple good days and get a good shoot around tomorrow with the 8 o'clock start. We'll go a little bit harder in shoot around than we normally would on an earlier tip, but I anticipate our guys coming out and playing well.
Expressed a lot of confidence in Fairgate shooting through his slump. Sam and some of the other guys said that they probably have more confidence in him than he does right now. How important it is to have everybody kind of lifting a guy who's struggling, especially who can kind of open things up for you offensively.
Yeah, it is important, and it is a matter of time before Burke starts knocking down shots. He's putting a lot of time, a lot of extra work in the gym, and he'll get rewarded for that. And I met with him yesterday, and I said, Burke, you're going to have a shot that feels so bad it's going to hit the front of the rim, hit the backboard, hit the back of the rim, and fall in, and that's the one that's going to get you going. And as long as you continue to do the other things, the basketball guys have a way of rewarding you. And he's doing so many things for our team right now to impact winning. The 13 rebounds, the defensive efficiency. He's one of our top guys on that end of the floor. He can guard multiple positions. He's just doing a lot of things except for shooting, and it's gonna happen. And he's putting a lot of time into it. The biggest thing for him is his balance. When his balance is on point, the ball has a chance of going in the basket. And I really thought that one he took in front of the bench the other day was the one. It was a beautiful stroke, and it hits every part of the rim, and unfortunately bounced out. But, as I said to him, I said, you're 0 for 0. You're looking at a guy right now where I missed my first 19 shots of the season one year. I was on pace to break an all-time NBA record for consecutive missed shots to start the season off. And it's a very lonely feeling. And, that rim looked like a little thimble up there. But then you just gradually, the averages will go up. And as I said to B-Guy, I said, listen, you go 1 for 4, your percentage is going to go up. And then the next game you go 3 for 3. And all of a sudden now you're up to a 30% shooter, and it's going to continue to climb. So, the good thing is, playing for a guy that's been through, those highs and lows, ups and downs. And the biggest thing, you still have to go out and impact winning. And Burke has absolutely done that.
Trader's head coach was talking about how Sam and Kale know the rules in this team. They're really able to fill in what Nebraska may be missing in the past. And he implied potentially his players aren't doing that on his. So for another coach to recognize that and the team buy-in you have, what does that mean to you and your coaching staff?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a luxury to have guys that star in their roles. And, you try to do the best job you can in explaining and what the role of the players are. And I think Sam and Kale are perfect examples of guys that have completely bought in to what their role is and what they're supposed to do on the court. They think they're a step ahead in the way that they think the game on the floor. And, I think you saw with Sam when they were going under, his ability to knock down a couple shots, that's going to loosen things up for us when he makes those shots. And Kale, he's been as good as anybody as facilitating the offense. He had very uncharacteristic, I thought, couple minutes in the second half, but then he finished the game for us, and I thought got back to who he is and played really well. But, Kale's been terrific, especially against drop defenses. He's really good at what we call the hostage dribble, getting a guy on his back and being able to make the floater. He had a really good take to the basket where he had a guy on his back and what we call a Gortat action where you pin in the big, where he was able to get in and make a layup there at the end of the game. So, those guys both know every spot in the floor, every position on the floor. And I know I've talked a lot about this, but I think Kale's going to be a good coach, and I'm trying to talk Sam out of being a coach.
As you went back and looked at the Creighton films, what really stood out about the defensive effort?
Just activity, Wilson. That's the thing that stood out to me is, I talked about this after the game. In the previous game against Upstate, we had one deflection in 10 minutes, and I thought we went out and had great activity with our hands. And when we do that, I can tell we're ready. And I saw that in the first possession all the way through. And we had a lot of possessions where we had Creighton within the final 7 seconds of the shot clock. Number one, you can tell that's our guys are getting back with urgency and forcing a really good, fast team into a half-court possession. And then just our activity and our communication and finishing off the possession with a physical block out and a rebound. That's the thing that impressed me about that group. But, again, when you have a week to prepare, you get a lot of time to go through the scouting report, and I thought our guys went out and executed it beautifully. Nate Lenzer did a great job of putting a game plan together on that side of the floor, and our guys went out and executed the game plan to perfection. Now with shorter time and making it more conceptual with what Wisconsin's going to do without as much time to prepare, we'll see how we come out of the gate. But again, I think our guys will come out and play with passion and play with energy. Yesterday was more of a mental day. Today we got after it a little bit more. And, we need them to have their legs against a team that's got the firepower of Wisconsin.
I've been talking about it earlier, but when you have,
both not only you, but the women's program as well, both undefeated, ranked to start the season. I mean, what does that say about what both you and Amy are doing here?
Amy is, she's awesome. I love what she's got going right now. Britt Prince is so much fun to watch. Their role players are doing a great job with what they do. And, their ability to knock down shots. So I saw that they're a 62-point favorite in their game tonight. So, I just think that, Amy has done such an incredible job of putting a team together that fits. And, when you have a point guard like Britt that does so many things, can score it and can pass it, can rebound it, she's just such a great all-around player. It's great. And Amy and I, we will text after games and that type of thing. I'm a huge fan of her and her program, and she sent me some really nice messages, especially through some of the tougher times as well. And it's great to share a hallway and bounce ideas off of somebody that I consider a really good basketball coach.
We had 7 guys play above 10 minutes against Creighton. I guess how do you balance keeping the core group going, but also getting them rest?
Yeah, it is important, Robin. But again, sometimes you get so caught up in the moment, and then we'll adjust our practices accordingly. And, like I said, yesterday was a mental day for pretty much everybody. We got the lower minute guys some extra reps in conditioning. Today we got after a little bit more, but still took it a little bit easier on a guy like Rink, who we're going to need out there for the games. And Jared, he's getting there. He's getting better. I like the shots that he hunted yesterday. That second one especially, I thought it was down. Kendall is performing well in practice, and he's going to get opportunities as we move along as well. And then Leo, it was good to have him back on the bench. We were going to be very careful and almost use him as emergency. It was good to get him in that last minute and a half, just to get back out on the floor. And then Oogie is coming along. He's doing some more lateral movement right now. The plan is to get him back on the floor in basketball workouts next Wednesday, and we'll see how the 3 days of prep go leading into the North Dakota game. So, we're getting close on some of our guys getting back and providing some very valuable depth, especially on the front line. But we're gonna need them. We're gonna need everybody, and everybody's gonna get their opportunity at some point.
Fred, you downplayed the national ranking thing, but it's a big thing for some of the fans. Is there a message that you have for them and just being able to join you on this ride of being 9-0 right now?
Yeah, it is, and I think that's what it is, Kevin. I think it is better. It's more important to the fans maybe than it is, to the coaches. I know the players, it means a lot to them as well because of all the hard work that they're putting into it. But it's great for the fans to be able to, see the hard work in the team, that they're doing such a great job of getting behind and supporting. To be able to look up and see a number next to the name. Now, this can't just be a 1 week thing. We got to go out there and hopefully, continue to take care of business, knowing it's going to get a lot harder. And, this is an incredibly tough week. We knew that when the schedule came out, that you have 3 games in a week with your rival. And then with Wisconsin coming, we finally get a home game to start off. And of course, they give us Wisconsin. And then we get to go on the road and play, a top 15 team in Illinois. So, it's a tough grind and start. Whatever happens, we're going to grow from it and get better from it. But, this is a big opportunity for us tomorrow night. Thank you, guys.